Just 6 weeks after you squeeze a human out of your vagina, you will be ready and raring to go. Just like that. It just felt like a big fat lie. Hey mamas, I'm Dana B. Myers, a love, sex, and relationship expert and author. I'm also a mom to 2 kids and a wife to my husband, Charlie. And today I want to talk to you about the biggest lie we've been told about sex after having a baby. And that is that 6 weeks after delivering, you'll be ready for your sex life to return. Yes. Just 6 weeks after you squeeze a human out of your vagina or deliver them via major abdominal surgery, you will be ready and raring to go. Just like that. Now, personally, I did not feel ready at 6 weeks, and I practically lurched at my doctor when she gave me the okay right in front of my husband. Because for me, there were so many things to consider as I thought about having sex again. Like, were my stitches fully healed? Like, fully healed? Are things different down there after pushing out a giant child? Is it gonna hurt? How could I possibly feel turned on when I was still super emotional from our experience in the NICU? Was my milk gonna squirt out and hit Charlie in the face while we were having sex? Was I gonna be dry as a desert? Did I feel self-conscious about my new body? And big picture, as a new mama, did I feel like my body at that moment was now somehow meant more for my baby than for my husband or for my own pleasure? Yes, and yes. I was feeling all these things, and they were quite literally blocking my desire for sex, even though I'd gotten the go-ahead from my doctor. And it didn't matter that I knew that sex and intimacy and pleasure were necessary to the well-being of my own body and mind, as well as the health of my marriage. It was not something I was even remotely ready for at just 6 weeks postpartum. It was not something I felt ready to add back into the mix of our lives. It's like, okay, maybe our bodies are technically ready for intercourse after just 6 weeks. And for some, I know that's true and it's not a big deal. But for me, this idea that at 6 weeks, I should have been ready to return to intimacy, like it was no big deal, it just felt like a big fat lie. And it puts so much unnecessary pressure on us as women. So I say, F the 6-week lie, and let's just give ourselves a moment. And I get that your partner may feel left out and may not understand where you're at emotionally and physically, and maybe they feel a little bit rejected if you're not ready, especially if there wasn't a whole lot of action happening in the 3rd trimester. But you deserve as much time as you need before you even start thinking about sex again. And this is coming from someone who writes and thinks and educates women about sex for a living. And I am someone who loves sex and the pleasure and connection that it provides me as a woman and also my marriage. But the honest truth is that Charlie and I didn't return to actual intercourse for at least 3 months after each of our babies were born. Instead, I gave myself time. I gave myself the time I needed to mend, to adjust, to figure out my new body and my feelings, and also to just get grounded as a couple, adjusting to being parents of 1 and then 2. But that doesn't mean we were like isolated from each other. It was more like, instead of sex at 6 weeks, we focused on a lot of physical, sensual contact. So there was lots of hugs and kisses and massages and taking baths together. And also, until I was ready, I was happy to satisfy my husband's desires without needing to receive. And there were also times where I explored pleasure and orgasm with Charlie without penetration. And that was a great baby step to reconnecting to my body and overcoming those mental challenges that I talked about. And then when we did actually start having sex again, I had to figure out how to relax my mind and let go of my mommy to-do list and not have one ear anxiously glued to the monitor while we were making love, because the monitor is really not that conducive to having an orgasm. And lube, so much lubricant. And then, as time went on, our sex life became more regular and frequent, and eventually, as the kids got a bit older, I became more empowered in my sexuality and really found my way back to it on my own terms, not because the doctor had told me it was time. So what I'm trying to say here is that it can take months or even years to feel genuinely turned on again. And that's why 6 weeks feels like such a big lie to me. Like, why aren't our doctors telling us 10 weeks or even 3 months as a new baseline? I wish that the message we got in that tender postpartum state is that it can take months or even years to find our way back to our sexuality, not weeks. And I wish there was a more open conversation for moms and dads alike about the options to connect in other sensual ways and ways that nourish you as a mother and woman, and fulfill his desires too, without feeling guilty like you should be open for business just 6 weeks after delivery. So I'm glad we're starting that conversation together, and I hope you'll take a moment to share, were you really ready for full-blown sex at 6 weeks postpartum? And how did you handle this topic in your relationship? I'd love to hear your experience and your thoughts, so please leave a comment below, and let's get the conversation started. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.